and welcome to Order Up, the Final Order Cutoff show. We have a ton of great things that we'll be talking about that are on Final Order Cutoff this Monday, September 22nd. A lot of Age of Revelation, some awesome new books from Marvel and DC, and plenty of other incredible publishers, brilliant works. We also have an amazing guest who does some of the greatest animated style artwork you can imagine in the way of Jay Fosgitt. So stay tuned after this to watch. Hi everyone, I'm Mathias Lewis, and I'm here to talk to you about FOC, or Final Order Cutoff. It is the last chance that we, the comic retailers, have to finalize our orders for comics releasing roughly 3 to 6 weeks out from the Mondays we finalize our orders. We deal with this every Monday, but this is important to you, the consumer, because it is the perfect time to reach out to your local comic shop if you want any specific or guaranteed items. If you want the Jim Lee or Dan Mora covers of Justice League Unlimited, reach out to your local comic shop and let us know. If you want the new issue of Lilo and Stitch, this is the perfect time to tell us. Because as long as you can get us the orders before Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, that will give your local comic shop retailer enough time to finalize that order, adding in whatever it is you want, so they can guarantee when it releases, we have a copy set aside waiting for you. So, always reach out to your local comic shop before 6 p.m. on Mondays with the comics you want. The sooner, the better, to guarantee they're waiting for you. And today we'll be talking about comics that are on Final Order Cutoff this Monday, September 22nd. How are you doing today, Kyle?
I'm upright and not crying, as the Dutch say, which is always a win.
There it is. Yeah, I always love doing live just because we'll have moments where I'm sitting here, ever so happy, and then I realize, oh, I'm on air. I was not expecting that, and then I have to try and figure out how to do the cold open of the show.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But
that's what makes it fun. That's why we do it that way.
Yeah, that is the way to go. Like, never a professional moment in my life. It is always just go, 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 and cross your fingers you're, wearing your clothes.
No, if I let you think about it, you'll get all in your head and you'll say something dumb. Whereas if I don't let you think about it, you won't get all in your head and you'll say something dumb. So that's how you do it.
All right. But for those of you guys who are watching, you likely showed up here not to hear me talk. You showed up to find out all the comics that are on Final Order Cutoff this Monday, September 22nd. And if you want to see those, there's 2 key websites we recommend you check. PRHcomics.com here is the perfect place to find out about Marvel, IDW, Boom, Distillery, Dark Horse, and more. A lot of the great publishers handled by Penguin Random House. Now, if you go to prhcomics.com, you'll see this website. Right here at the bottom of the screen, you'll see FOC September 22nd. You'll click that, and you'll get this wonderful section of the website with all of the comics on Final Order Cutoff this Monday. I always recommend sorting it A to Z so you can see them all. But if you're more of a fan of DC, Image Comics, Oni, Dynamite, and more, you're going to want to pop over to lunardistribution.com, the key distributor in North America for those publishers. You'll see lunardistribution.com brings you to a website like this, a few minor strokes down in the scrolling, and you get to upcoming FOC. Make sure you're on the right date, September 22nd, and you can see all of those books that are on Final Order Cutoff this Monday. A lot of great books on both that we'll be talking about shortly. But before that, we have a special guest who has an incredible comic on FOC this Monday. Kyle, would you like to do the intro on this?
Absolutely. So, guys, our guest today is one of my good friends, one of my favorite people ever to get a commission from. He is one of only, I would say, 3 people who know more about Muppets than me, and that includes Pat Koala. This is a call out that nobody gets but me and our guest. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in cartoonist, the man who understands cartooning on such a molecular level there is no better, Jay Fosgitt.
How's it going, Jay?
He doesn't know what to do with that, does he?
I'm just trying not to be mean about that Pat Koala reference.
Hey, if he can't get them right, he doesn't deserve them.
He thinks he knows things about Muppets, but he sure don't. So
no, he doesn't.
That's about it.
There we go. And I mean, you definitely know quite a bit about Muppets with your history in the career, even having done an amazing Jim Henson comic series.
Thank you. Yeah, I've got to work on a couple different stuff through the Henson Company, and I have my own personal connections with them. The Henson Company were the ones who asked for me to work on these various things. So I've worked on some Dark Crystal comic stuff, Labyrinth stuff, and then what you guys have probably seen most is Fraggle Rock.
Absolutely. Always a Fraggle Rock fan.
So I want to start here with this. It's interesting because we were talking about it before the show, but like Tamara's in the comments. Tamara has a Jay Fosgitt piece now. Mathias has a Jay Fosgitt commission now. I have a couple of handfuls worth. But you are one of the fastest drawers I know. Does that help with cartooning?
Yeah, it definitely helps, but the trick is I'm not trying to be fast. It's the more fun I'm having with it, the more it just flows. And a perfect example of that, I was just looking at it yesterday, was that sketch cover I did for you of the Mars Attacks cover, and I put Mulder and Scully on there with one of the aliens, the Akak aliens. And that's one of my favorite things I ever got to draw. That was so much fun. And that happened relatively quickly because I was just so focused on it and it was so much fun. There's other things I have to do that are much more of a slog, believe me.
So let's get into the actual, Jay Fosgitt, comic creator of it all.
Yeah, I mean, and Jay's done covers on some of the biggest books from the biggest publishers, everything from Marvel, IDW, Boom, and more. I mean, look at that classic Star Trek Lower Decks piece from IDW. I love that.
That was an endeavor, I'll tell you that, trying to get it just right. But they were happy with it, and that's all I care about. So
a lot of major properties too. I mean, how does that feel working with some of these massive, licensed, well-known, iconic characters?
It's funny because a couple of them are like childhood dreams come true, like working on Fraggle Rock and anything Henson or anything Marvel. But then you have something like Star Trek where I was just sort of indifferent about, or My Little Pony, which I was just indifferent about. And I get brought on and you feel the weight of the fandom, but it's a positive thing. And you just want to do your best job and make sure that you're not getting it wrong because you're not as ingrained as some of the fandom. You know what I mean? I really do my homework on stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and you have a couple incredible books that if anybody watching doesn't own and wants to grab, you can go to your local comic shop right now and order. Star Trek Lower Decks, the trade paperback, is in stores for the original miniseries, which you did the cover on. And then you did this amazing Fraggle Rock book with Boom Studios that is currently in stores right now. Can you talk a little bit about the rough side of the rock?
Yeah, so there was a Fraggle Rock miniseries, I want to say 6 or 7 years ago, that Boom via Archaea put out. And I think I was one of 4 creators who each did their own issue, wrote and drew their own issue. Katie Cook, I believe, was one of them. But it was my first opportunity to get to write for a recognizable property, not just draw it. And working with the Henson Company was a thrill because they were very hands-on in that, they were like, okay, you got to make sure the doozers are, look just this way and proportionate to the Fraggles. And I wanted that. I wanted to be shoulder to shoulder with these, with the Hensons and the creative folks over there. So that was a thrill in itself. But yeah, this book has really kind of become a Muppet legacy for me, which I'm honored to have gotten to do.
Yeah. And I mean, your animation-esque style just is so wonderful for all ages books. Did a great young reader book in the way of Marvel's first bedtime storybook. I mean, artwork is beautiful. And
Thank you.
we talk a little bit about
Well,
what it's like to handle these characters in an all ages perspective.
Jay, you've done a bunch of these Marvel Beginnings books, right?
I've been working for Disney Publishing Worldwide for going on 6 or 7 years now, and then the Marvel stuff has been at least 5 years unto itself. So yeah, it's been a bit, and I've got more books done than have actually hit shelves yet. So they're going to have plenty of material going forward. But yeah, after I had been working on the Young Donald Duck series for them, and that sort of ran its course. That was only released in non-English speaking Europe, so I could never get any copies over here. But they said they wanted to do a bunch of young Marvel superheroes type of stuff, and they wanted my style, which is inherently cartoony, obviously. And that's how I got this. And it's been a very interesting experience, because working for Marvel Comics directly, if they have me do a cover or have me do some interiors, I'm given a lot. I'm pretty much left alone to my own devices and do what I want to do. And 9 out of 10 times they're thrilled with it on the first pass. And with Disney, you're answering to several different factions of editorial. So there's a lot more cooks in the kitchen. And so it's keeping me on my toes. I'll say that.
And if anybody's interested in grabbing Marvel Beginnings my first bedtime storybook, it is available through Penguin Random House alongside your Fraggle Rock book, and is a great one for those of you who are watching that want to get a intro for young readers into your favorite superheroes. I can say as a father myself, these are ideal books, and by the end, your kid will know everyone from T'Challa to Bruce Banner.
Oh my gosh. I had to draw Wakanda once. That was like in the notes. I'm like, are you serious? And they're like, yeah, we need you to draw Wakanda. That took a day. So, yeah.
But you do this animated style with a lot of wonderful pieces for all ages, but you don't exclusively provide it for all ages. How is it to transition when you're working with a more mature content like Scotty Young on Marvel's Rocket Raccoon?
You know, it's whatever is asked for in that moment. My thing is, I come in and I'm doing the Jay Fosgitt style no matter what it is. The difference is, like with the Marvel kids books, and I wasn't even told this, I made a conscious decision. Like, for example, I just finished up drawing a book featuring Spider-Man and Kraven the Hunter. And I chose not to draw Kraven with knives or spears or anything like that, because I'm like, that's not, I mean, these are for like toddlers. You know, and I think it's enough to see this kind of sinister mustache twirling villain running from Spider-Man, and that's kind of cute and perilous at the same time. You don't need to have weapons in there, but it still gets the dynamic across. But then you have something with Rocket Raccoon and Groot where Scotty will say, "Go nuts." I mean, he was very hands off as far as that goes. So he wrote the script for this issue with me in mind, because he knows I like to do kind of, well, with my own book, Bodhi Troll, it's got a very fairy tale vibe, very Renfest kind of feeling. And so he wrote this story with that in mind. So I got to draw Space Vikings and design all those. And I designed them all looking like blue, goofy dogs from the Disney cartoons, you know? So creative freedom, you know, it's incredible working with Scotty. And this book was a real joy for that.
So I have to ask, going into your newest project with Scotty, when you're drawing, do you prefer to have the more all ages art style, or do you like just unleashing havoc as you are in your upcoming I Hate Fairyland?
I like having free reign, you know, so I'm not restrained one way or the other, because half the time, if I'm given a free reign, I'm not necessarily going to draw as violent or weird or what, you know, it's whatever inspires me in the moment. However, I like having that option. I did a book so many years ago for a now defunct indie company called Ape Entertainment, where I wrote and drew this book called Little Green Men. And when we started doing the book, they told me they wanted it to have like Simpsons-esque humor, which is kind of edgy, characters drinking or being salacious with women or something. And so that's what the first book was. And then midway through, they decided, no, we want this to be all ages. So suddenly I had to recreate these characters on the fly. And, oh, he can't get drunk. I can't draw big breasts on this female character, things like that. So sometimes you got to do that. Sometimes you got to turn on a dime and, whatever is asked for, you got to provide. And I think I'm pretty good at that. But I like having the gloves off and being able to just expand creatively.
All right. Well, you've worked with Scotty before, as we saw with Rocket Raccoon and Group, but I imagine you truly get the gloves off with I Hate Fairyland. So can you tell us a little bit about the upcoming I Hate Fairyland 45 that's on FOC this Monday and clearly features an iconic character alongside Gertrude?
Yeah. This has been the single most enjoyable thing I've worked on in years that I didn't personally create. And Scotty had reached out to me quite a while ago saying, would you like to draw I Hate Fairyland? And it's like, yup, single word answer. I didn't have to think about it. And he always tries to write for his artists and their interest. And he knows me really well. And so one day he writes me and he was like, so I have an idea for this script for you. I know you're the world's biggest Popeye fan, which I am a huge Popeye fan. He's my all-time favorite cartoon character. And he was like, and Popeye is currently public domain. And I know the ins and outs of that because I've been, following Popeye for years. I even got to draw him professionally once for King Features for his 90th anniversary. I got to write and draw one of the Sunday strips, and that was a huge honor. But the 1929 version of Popeye is now public domain, and Scotty knew some of it, and I filled in the gaps where he didn't know, and he crafted this story. He goes, do you guys swear on this show? I won't swear if you don't.
That's a question.
You're good.
I'm good. Okay, Scotty just writes me this email, and he goes, Gert's gonna fight motherfucking Popeye, and I'm just like, oh my god, and I'm freaking out. I'm like, are you fucking serious? And it was just the greatest thing ever. So that's how most of our emails to each or our texts to each other. And boy, he wrote it. Just talk about gloves off, and it gave me the opportunity to draw cartoon violence like I don't normally get to do it. Even on my own stuff, like my book, Bodhi Troll, isn't, it's rambunctious, but it's not like gore or anything like that. And of course, I Hate Fairyland, anything's possible. So I drew a piece of pitch art to him as he was writing the script where Gert has a shotgun and she shoots into his pipe, which blows his brains out of the top of his head, but his brains are in a spinach can with a brain on the front of it. And then I drew Popeye kicking her in the mommy parts, and her ovaries come shooting out the sides of her ears. And anyway, that was sort of like he already had me on board the book, but I'm like, maybe this will give you some inspiration. And whether or not it did, he loved it. So
yeah, I can say that you guys have an all-out brawl in this book between Gertrude and Popeye, where there was clearly no holding back.
No. And he gave me so much creative freedom with that. Like, I think only once or twice did he say something like, I don't know, Gert's, smushed here or cut Popeye in half here. But generally, he let me come up with the violence. So that really, I had to put myself in the I Hate Fairyland mindset. You know what I mean? It'd go further than what I normally did. So yeah, I got to do some creative stuff, jump roping with intestines and things like that. And that was so much fun. Laying it all out was a trick. Getting all these gore scenes together in one double page spread was rough, but fun.
Yeah. And I mean, I will say this, if anybody is watching, they're like, oh my God, I really want to see Gertrude fight Popeye, but I'm not up to date or I've never read I Hate Fairyland. Don't worry. I'm going to say something I never say on the show, but I'm a few months behind on I Hate Fairyland. I've had a busy couple of months with conventions and everything, but I was able to sit down and read this in advance last night, and you can dive right in. This is kind of a standalone story for I Hate Fairyland. Would you say, Jay?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And that's kind of the great thing I think about I Hate Fairyland. I mean, anything can happen in this world that can be, remotely adjacent to fairy tale culture. And so Scotty really created the perfect vehicle for his imagination that way. And when he said Popeye would fit into it, I'm like, yeah, he will. And, it was just a thrill. So, yeah, this is, to the best of my understanding, he could pop up again, but I don't think that's the plan. Scotty has a limitless imagination and he's got a backlog of ideas he's still trying to crank out in the issues. So I'm thankful he brought Popeye out for this one and I got to be the guy to draw it.
All right. So I'm sure the question everyone's asking, aside from how do I order this book before Monday when it FOCs, is what happens in this issue? What brings Gertrude and Popeye together for this unique combination?
It's very similar to Popeye's first appearance in 1929 in Thimble Theater Comics, where Olive Oyl, her brother, and her boyfriend need to charter a boat, and Popeye has that boat. Gert needs to charter a boat from Popeye. However, it doesn't start off as a hey, I'd like to charter your boat. It's hey, let's get in a blood and guts fight because I'm Gert and that's what I do. And that's my calling card. It's how I introduce myself. So you get like 3 or 4 pages of just beating the shit out of each other. And then he's like, so what did you need? Oh, I need your boat. Oh, come on, let's go do that. So that's the crux of it. Pretty much what they need the boat for. I hate to say it, but it's what's the term? The Hitchcock term for
it's a red herring.
Red herring, yes, yeah. Basically, it's a red herring. It's a MacGuffin. Yeah, because the whole thing is just like we want to see Gert and Popeye fight, 2 of the most violent cartoon characters of all time. So you have an underlying plot of why she needs the boat, but it's secondary to just the slapstick gore. And I can't see people not having the greatest time reading this, honestly. I think it's going to be so much fun for them. Plus, particularly anyone who's a Popeye fan, because there is not enough Popeye content out there these days. The official stuff is, in my opinion, right now, not great. And because it's public domain, you get a lot of lesser stuff. Like I have no use for those Popeye horror movies that are coming out. So I feel like we're giving him his best shot. And I got to design Popeye for this. Like, I wanted it to look more like he did in 1929. That's why you might see this Popeye I drew and say, oh, he's a little bit different than, say, the Fleischer Brothers cartoons or whatever. Yeah, that's exactly true. But I modeled it off of how E.C. Segar did it in 1929 with my own spin on it, of course. So he has like stubbly chin and hairy arms and things. You never really see his mouth because his nose was humongous. It almost overtook his chin back then. So things like that. And the only thing we don't have in there, because it was not 1929 when spinach was first used. So there's no spinach in there. But I always felt spinach was a placebo anyway for him. So that's my take. So
yeah, and that'll be releasing on October 15th. I am excited about that.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing a store signing at Oh Yeah Comics in Muncie, Indiana on the 15th. For that, and I'm so excited. I hope people show up and I get to sign the hell out of it because, I mean, this was a labor of love, truly.
Yeah, and you'll also be doing a major convention, I believe, after the release of this.
So, oh my gosh, October is going to be super busy. I've got New York Comic Con first thing in October. Then I'm doing 2 store signings specifically for this issue of I Hate Fairyland, the Muncie Indiana one, and one in Saginaw, Michigan at Coy's Comics at their new location on the 18th. And then at the end of that month, I will be at Cincinnati Comic Expo, which is very much a hometown show for me. I've been doing that show for years, and my friends run it, and it's an absolute joy. So I'm eager to have all these, hopefully copies of the book myself that I can sell and sign for people and do Popeye sketches. If I did nothing but Popeye sketches that whole weekend, I would be thrilled.
So you don't know this, and the other person doesn't know this, but I will be joining you at Cincinnati.
What? I think I do know this now.
Don't tell the other big bearded bald guy, okay?
Well, there's a lot of big bearded bald guys.
You know the one. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I wanted to talk about something else that is super super important, and that's this guy. Anybody who's ever come to your table has got to meet Bodhi. Tell us about Bodhi Troll.
Bodhi is a comic I came up with in 2011 when I wanted to do my own fairy tale book and whatever that would amount to. It's all comprised of my personal interest, slapstick cartoon humor. It's very Muppety. It's very animatorly. It's, a fairy tale book, but it's anachronistic. It's got all these elements that are very much in my wheelhouse. And so Bodhi's a fairy tale troll who wants to be big and scary, but he's too cute and cuddly, and so no one takes him seriously. And in what became his first volume that I recently self-published under my Cheeseburger Press imprint, Bodhi has all these shorter adventures within the book where he's trying to be the villain but winds up the hero despite his best efforts. And that's the crux of Bodhi. What we see here is that was the cover for when Boom briefly had the publishing rights to Bodhi, and we did a volume 1 through there that was a bit condensed compared to what I did later on. So, yeah. So hopefully,
I trolled your Facebook for a while trying to find the cover for the new issue, and I just ran out of time. But
don't worry about it.
The new issue comes with another little thing that you get to put on the cover.
Yeah. Gosh, this is the first award I've ever gotten in my professional comics career of almost 20 years. It's the National Cartoonist Society honored Bodhi Troll with Graphic Novel of the Year this past, a month ago, I think it was when it happened. And I had submitted Bodhi for the awards, but I only half-heartedly thought I had a shot because every year I'm up against Sergio Aragonés, and it's like, there's no way he's not going to win it. But I don't know. I got lucky. He didn't submit this year. So I'm like, yeah. So, but yeah, it was such an honor. And they have you record. I couldn't attend. So they have you record an acceptance video and submit that in advance. But I'd forgotten all about it. And then one night out of the blue, I think it was a Friday night, I got emails from so many artists who were in attendance. They're like, you won. I'm like, hey, I won what? And they were like, the National Cartoonist Society Award for blah. I'm like, geez, Louise, I forgot all about that. That's awesome. So, yeah, and then by crazy coincidence, the fulfillment company for the NCS is here in Metro Detroit. So they brought that to my house, which is really neat. So, yeah, biggest honor in my career, I tell you.
So if people want to get Bodhi Troll now, especially if you're a shop out there watching who has an all ages section, who really needs a killer all ages book, where can people get Bodhi Troll? Can they order that directly from you? Do you have a fulfillment? How does that work?
They just email let me stop myself there. They can go to jfosgitt.com, and I have a web store all set up, and you can order volumes 1 and volume 2, which just came out this past spring. And it's all set up. The wonderful J. Cott set it up for me. He's my boy. And so if you're from out of the country, if you're from in the country, wherever you are, it calculates, exactly what the shipping rate will be. It makes it very simple for you. I will say shipping rates are god awful these days. And I had to clarify that to some people. I'm like, yeah, the extra money isn't going into my pocket. I assure you, if I could just charge cover price, I would. And at cons, I do. But to ship it out, oh my gosh, it's so cost prohibitive these days. So anyone who's buying it, I greatly appreciate it. And I hope it's worth it to you because I think it's good for everybody. Bodhi Troll.
All right. So other than your website, other than jfosgitt.com, where can people follow you? Where can they find out what you're doing? Where can they support your work?
Facebook is still like a huge outlet for me. I get a lot of followers on Facebook still, despite all the controversies and things that keep popping up here and there. And then you have Instagram, and I didn't realize I had the following I had on Instagram, but I do. So I post on there too. I make a point of, hey, this convention's coming up, this book's coming out, whatever. And what's really funny is when I'm working on someone else's property, be it Marvel or I Hate Fairyland or whatever, I don't necessarily know when they're going to make these announcements. So one day I just look online and I'm like, oh, they put Popeye and Gert out there and now everybody knows. I guess I can talk about it now. you know. But I think that's a fairly common situation with a lot of us artists. We're the last ones to know when we can promote.
Right. Well, it's like I messaged you about doing this, and I thought, like, did I catch him by surprise? Did he know this was coming? So
Normally, I wouldn't. I always have my head down at the drawing board here, and you know, I run my own life, which I probably shouldn't be allowed to, and so I'm just appreciative that people like you guys are reaching out to me and letting me promote. So
absolutely, my order list for this book is pretty heavy. There's only the 2 covers, right? Well, there's 3 covers, right? There's
3,
the A cover you did.
Yeah.
There's the F Fairyland cover,
mm-hmm.
and then there's the Scotty Young, right? So
Yeah.
people could check all 3 of those out.
It's really neat because Jean-Francois Ballou, who's been Scotty's colorist on most of his stuff for the last, I don't know how long, 20 years almost. I hired him some years back to color what became the cover for Bodhi Troll Volume 2. And so we're friendly, and I adore his work. That guy is a god of coloring. And so not only did he color, he did both versions of the cover, and I love that B cover that's kind of like desaturated and reddish hues. And I just thought, wow, that's inspired. So I'm glad they did that. And then, of course, Scotty's cover is amazing. So
remind everyone, Scotty's cover is a 1-in-10 ratio. So you're going to want to reach out to your local comic shop and let them know if you're interested to see if they're getting it and how much they'll be charging.
Yeah.
My local comic shop called me last night when I emailed them my list, and they go, wait, you know this is a 1-in-10 and you ordered 5, right? And I go, yeah. Just give me 25 of the other 2 each and we'll call it good. And they're like, I'm like, just watch my show tomorrow. So they're sitting there going, oh. So,
no, it's
Fozzie, Jay, thank you for coming on the show, man. You know I love talking to you. I love hanging out. I know Mathias is a big fan. So I wanted to get you on.
I appreciate it. I'm thrilled to be here, and anytime you guys want to chat, I'm available.
Yeah. Now, just if anybody's asking, right now this seems to be a standalone issue you're doing. I Hate Fairyland currently, but is there a possibility we'll see you again on the title?
Very good possibility. Scotty and I have been talking about it for a while, and there's at least one other issue that we've discussed with plans for others down the road, you know. So not anything officially slated, but anytime he texts me, I'm ready to go. And that's how this book happened. So it's a good relationship.
You can give this to Scotty and you guys could take all the credit for it. I want a issue where Gert and everyone falls into a poultry dimension. That's just a Jay Fosgitt reference that only the 2 of us will get, where they're all chickens.
I'm sorry, I've read some Source Point Press before.
Well, anyway.
Yeah.
So
Very
thank you
good.
for being here, buddy. I appreciate you coming to
Thanks
the
for
show.
having me, guys. I appreciate it.
All right. So remember, check out I Hate Fairyland issue 45. It is on FOC this Monday and releases October 15th of this year. It'll be a fun one. All right, guys. I think we now need to dive into all the rest of the comics on Final Order Cutoff by starting out at Penguin Random House, prhcomics.com. And talk about starting out at an interesting time. We're starting out at the foundation of America itself, the country most known for modern comics. Going back to 1776, the supervillain is the historic era that America was founded. And the modern American heroes are not going to have it. Led by Captain America, they're going back in time almost 250 years as we prepare for, what is the name of this anniversary of America we're coming on, Kyle?
The semi-quincentennial.
The semi-quincentennial. So J. Michael Straczynski, the infamous Spider-Man writer, is back with Captain America and a large bevy of American heroes. This is exciting. I am all about this book. There are some incredible covers that are available, as you can see here. I love the patriotism of it. It reminds me very much of the 1976 bicentennial Marvel calendar. They had all those great nods to the Revolutionary War. But I really am excited to see Steve Rogers fight in the Revolutionary War. I think this will be fun.
I will say this. I think Marvel missed a trick not putting William Daniels on the cover of one of these as John Adams from the musical 1776. But, that might be too nerdy for even Marvel.
But yeah, I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I am very excited about it. I already am in love with Bagley and David Nakayama's version of the the Revolutionary Captain America costume. All this looks brilliant. So then Captain America isn't just traveling back to 1776 on this week's FOC. He's also going back to World War II, where he's going to fight the newest Nazi monster, the Xenomorph. Yes, it's aliens versus Captain America. And I do love that almost all the covers, you can tell the editors just said Captain America raising a shield against the Xenomorph. Every single one of these cover artists did a very similar design, but it's an amazing piece. So I am excited to see Frank Thierry take on Captain America and the Xenomorphs in World War II. This is going to be a unique setting. I think I don't know if we've had the Xenomorphs or the Predators in World War II before. And if we haven't, it's shocking. It's only now we're getting it, but this has me pretty excited. I don't know about you.
Here's the thing: if we did have a Xenomorph or a Predator in World War II, it definitely makes some of the battles of World War II way more interesting. Like the Battle of the Bulge is way different when you're in like the forest outside of Bastogne, France, and there's a predator.
Yeah, I will say storming the beach on D-Day becomes a whole other level when instead of a ton of bullets flying at our troops, you see a ton of Xenomorphs, which are bullet-shaped.
Yeah.
But definitely an exciting one I am looking forward to. You can get that on FOC this Monday. I want to point out all new Wolverine for those of you Tom Taylor fans who are excited about Laura Kinney coming in the upcoming Batman Deadpool. You can catch up with that incredible trade paperback that is on FOC this week, as well as if you're a fan of the 1989 Batman film by Tim Burton, John Jackson Miller has a new sequel. He did Batman Resurrection, which played a part 2 of the Batman 89 film, which is kind of a weird thing to say because we did have Batman Returns. But this will be part 3 of the trilogy with John Jackson Miller doing Batman Revolution with Riddler. And this time you get a more Burton-esque Riddler rather than I can't even remember who did Batman Forever. Moving on. I don't know if you guys have heard about Jeremy Hahn's infamous Top Cow and Image book, Beauty. It was an amazing comic about an STD that people actually wanted because this STD made you beautiful. You lost weight. You got slimmer. You had a glow to you. And the only cost was a bit of a fever and death. Nevertheless, The Beauty was an amazing comic series Image Comics put out roughly a decade ago, a little bit more actually. And it is about to be an FX TV series. Now, because we are matching up with that, Ignition Press, which is run by the incredible Jeremy Hahn, along with a few other amazing comic creators, is back with a brand new series. The Beauty 2025 gives us a story of the Beauty from a different perspective, as we're dealing with, let me correct myself on this just to remind myself, a thief, a meteorologist, and other characters that are dealing with this STD that everyone wants, even if it's killing everyone. I mean, it's always an interesting concept because I remember discussing this when the comic was originally hitting stands. It was the water cooler book of the time of, would you let yourself get this STD? If it meant you were, fitter, more, more beautiful. Look, Kyle, we know you're beautiful. I get it.
Yeah, when you look as good as I look, you don't really need it.
Yeah.
But going along with this, though, I do know that I don't know when it's going to happen, but that Ignition is putting the original series trade back into print as well.
They are indeed. It should be releasing sometime in November, if I recall correctly. I believe we've already FOC'd the facsimile of number 1.
And there's a local comic shop day book as well.
Yeah. And perfect time to get your orders in on this. I really love that we have Emanuela Lupacino doing interiors. Her art style is always beautiful. She is great at drawing these stunning figures, which I think will work wonderfully for this comic, obviously, considering the theme. So, another amazing Ignition Press book. I'm hoping that many of you guys already likely went out and picked out Murder Podcast, which the second printing is on FOC this Monday, as well as Voyeur, which has issue number 2 on FOC this Monday. Now, if you love beautiful artwork, another big book that you will likely want to grab, more so for you anime and manga fans, is Clamp, the official art book, Color Shiro. Now, Clamp has done a ton of iconic manga that has converted into some very popular anime, things like, let's see, Cardcaptor Sakura, Chobits, and more. If you
Well, and
were,
Clamp itself was a manga series, like on its own, like that was almost like an anthology manga for a lot of years.
yeah, a great collective of artists and creators. You likely know them absolutely. If you were ever a fan of manga or anime in the 90s or early 2000s, even still, they are a powerhouse force to be reckoned with some of the greatest and most legendary ones, even things like Tsubasa Chronicles and more. So, this is going to be an awesome art book. We don't often get to talk about manga art books, but figure it would be a fun one as we also lead into, on the opposite end, a Disney manga, Disney's Stitch Best Food Forever. Now, this is a total standalone, but it is also a sequel. If you checked out the Tokyo Pop Stitch manga that took place not in Hawaii, but in Japan, in Okinawa, we return to Okinawa as Stitch comes back to hang out with Yuna, and Yuna helps him discover some of his favorite food. So, food manga has become a very popular thing. Even Superman had a food manga. I don't know if you had to read that about 2 years ago, but it's a crazy concept to me because, well, I guess we are seeing some American comics do that, like Ron V's Flavor. Um, it's a weird concept. Yet Japan has proven over and over again it works, and I'm so excited to see this with Disney's Stitch because everything's better with Stitch, as we'll talk about on some Marvel books later.
Absolutely. And then right next to that on PRH, Matthias, is Drops of God #1 from Kodansha USA.
Yeah.
It's Tadashi Agi and Shihu Okimoto. This is on my list. It normally wouldn't be the kind of book I would pick up, but there's a series on Apple TV that is getting hype all over the world. It won an International Emmy Award. It's a really popular live action drama in Asia and in Europe. But it's about a wine critic who dies, and his will reveals that his wine collection isn't just going to go to his son, who works at a beer company, but that the son has to basically become the greatest sommelier ever to live in order to get this fortune. So, very interesting, especially if you're into the finer alcohols in fiction. So, again, like this is right. This is getting a lot of hype all over the world, and again, award winning. So this might be worth picking up if you're into those kind of slice of lifey hero's journey, but not a traditional hero's journey stories.
I hear it pairs well with the Disney Stitch one as well. Food and wine always be the
Right.
combo.
Definitely eat cheese while reading.
There you go. All right, I want to go back up really for a quick moment and point out City Beneath Your Feet is back. James Tynion the Fourth's incredible distillery book. After a long hiatus with that transition over from Diamond to Penguin Random House is back with issue number 2. Once again, it was a huge gap, so if you were loving that first issue, hopefully your comic shop still has it, or you can get it picked up with the second printing that is now available through Penguin Random House. And you make sure to let your shop know if you want to grab issue number 2 of City Beneath Their Feet. I mean, James Tynion the Fourth, awesome female protagonist, can't go wrong because James does that wonderfully. I'm sure we all love Erica Slaughter over at Boom. So, a lot of great continuing ones, more facsimiles on Fantastic Four, but on that note of Fantastic Four, I want to talk about the new Fantastic Four issue number 4. This has a great pitch as the Thing's wife, Alicia, returns to the family after attending a convention. She finds out the family has a new pet, a cute little dog. But Alicia, being blind, can't see this dog. But when she first touches it, this dog is very awkward. It's slimy, it's scaly, it doesn't feel right at first. At first. But then it becomes the iconic dog that everyone else is describing to her. Something doesn't click right. Clearly, this dog that everyone has loved and accepted in the Fantastic family is something a little bit more. And it has ulterior motives, not only for the Fantastic family, but for Earth itself. And Alicia might be the only one who knows what it really is. Honestly, this is a Ryan North story, if I ever heard one. It has unbelievable artwork by Humberto Ramos, and I cannot wait for it. This is just fun Fantastic Four at its best, and one of the things I think I love most about the Fantastic Four stories. So definitely worth checking out. And if you were curious, for those people who were like, hey, I know Scotty Young's doing 5 connecting covers on Fantastic Four. That makes no sense. There's only 4 members. We now get to know who the 5th member of the connecting covers is. It's going to be Herbie. So, of course, I mean, who else would it be?
Well, and the Muppet variant for this one is Fozzie Bear, which brings me to, did you hear the one about the man with the light bulb in his nose? He was lightheaded. Waka, waka, waka.
There it was. You've been waiting on that one.
Yeah.
All right. So a lot of great covers on Fantastic Four, as has been the theme lately. I'm really, really enjoying the fact that I might be buying, and I am outright buying, multiple covers of Fantastic Four these days. Speaking of amazing things, Frankenstein Alive Alive, Steve Niles and Bernie Wrightson's infamous IDW collection is back in print. $20. You can't say no to that. Godzilla, the man who is everywhere. Well, the kaiju who is everywhere, I should say. From his Kaisei Universe ongoing series, the DC Universe's battle with the Justice League and King Kong, and destroying everything in the Marvel Universe, he's now taking his war on all to Kansas City in Godzilla vs. America, Kansas City. Now, my question is, which side of Kansas City is he on? Is he in Missouri or is he in Kansas? Where's your thoughts on that, Kyle?
Well, he's actually in Olathe, which is the other city that straddles the border. Because if you're going to attack Kansas City from this angle, you actually can't be in Kansas City. Anyway, I've spent too much time in Kansas City, haven't I?
Oh, wow. I do like that the opening pitch, though, to spoil it. Sorry for the spoilers, folks, is the King of Monsters knows it's really in Missouri. So, all sorts of funny. I am actually probably more hyped for this than I was Godzilla Destroys Los Angeles or Chicago.
Listen, as long as he doesn't mess up Arthur Bryant's or Joe's barbecue, I'm good with whatever he does there. But he needs to leave those alone because I'm hungry.
There it is. A lot of great things on FOC this Monday from Penguin Random House. Make sure you go through prhcomics.com, all of them. I mean, tons of new manga. Jeff the Land Shark, issue number 5, with some of the absolute greatest covers on any Marvel comic. I guarantee you one of these makes it in the top 10. I am buying every single cover of Jeff the Land Shark, number 5. In fact, Kyle, didn't you buy your very first Jeff the Land Shark cover finally? Yeah, I put that spotlight on you.
Yeah, no, I went to my local comic shop and I pre-ordered Batman Deadpool and I got all the variants I wanted, all the covers I wanted. But I realized that I needed a couple of extras. So after I bought the last copy of their Scotty Young, I asked the shopkeep, which one do you have the most of? That way I'm not buying you out of anything. Like, you've got inventory, that kind of thing. He's like, Jeff the Land Shark. And I had to hem and haw for 5 or 10 minutes before I bought it, but I eventually bought it.
And the funny thing is, anyone else, they would have saw Gudahiru's masterpiece of a cover with not only Jeff the Land Shark, but Crypto, the super dog, and they'd have grabbed it without a second thought.
Well, part of it is it doesn't have Deadpool or Batman on it.
arguably fair, I guess. All right. Going back to your favorite topic, we're going to talk about the Age of Revelation over at X-Men as a brand new series hits on this Monday's FOC, The Last Wolverine. And it's definitely an odd title, The Last Wolverine. Go ahead, get it out, Kyle. You've been waiting.
No, this is one of those hold a knife to my throat, why don't you, by putting Saladin Ahmed and Edgar Salazar in a book. Like, I want to be angry. I want to not buy this book. But those two.
I'm really curious about a month from now when we're doing this show, because you have been the biggest opponent to the Age of Revelation. And I get it. Marvel, once again, we call it out week after week. Drop the ball on how they're doing this. They're changing out titles. This Wolverine book will be replacing the main Wolverine title for several months, as all of the X titles get replaced for Age of Revelation. It's a hard one. But I'm going to be so excited to find out around roughly a month from now just how many books, despite all of this, you're actually subscribed to in the Age of Revelation.
I probably won't actually sub to any of them. I will probably get number ones and then make a decision. Like, there's this one, there's the Stephanie Phillips, right, or Aaron Cooter She-Hulk book. I like the teams. I'm angry about everything else.
Fair. But let's talk about this. I mean, this is a powerhouse team. Ahmed and Salazar. It is the story of the last Wolverine. And you might be thinking, what do you mean the last Wolverine? There's one Wolverine, maybe two. It's Logan. We could possibly argue Laura Kinney, maybe give it to Honey Badger. But no, this is none of them. This is actually about Wendigo. Wendigo, one of the students of James Logan Howlett, Wolverine, living in Vancouver as the true Canadian hero and rocking that awesome yellow, blue, and black costume. It's a crazy concept, but X years later in the Age of Revelation, everything's crazy. The team, the concept, the beautiful covers, which I actually truly do adore. I don't know why. I'm fully in on this. A lot of great continuing series. Black Cat still in Miles Morales. Magic the Gathering still giving us wonderful tales of Theros with Elspeth and the gods. Brilliant stuff. As I mentioned, the second printing of Murder podcast. But we're not even going to give you a break. We're going to do another Age of Revelation book with Omega Kids. Again, it's X years later. And now Tony Fleets, you love him, you know him from Stray Dogs, Feral, and he's been doing a number of great Marvel books like Wolverine with the Venom symbiote. He's been doing The Thing, the Marvel swimsuit issue, and now we do Omega Kids. As of all the things I never thought I'd ever get to see, Kid Omega is now adult Omega. He's an adult years later, with his own group of Hellions, the Omega Kids. I don't know who let this in, but I love it. I really want to read this, and I think Tony's ridiculous sense of humor will make this awesome. So, I don't know. Where's your thoughts on this one?
Hard pass.
Hard pass. Oh, no. I am all in. I love it.
Omega Kid is one of the few Marvel characters I just legitimately can't stand.
I love him. Kid Omega is probably the best thing. I will definitively say it. He is the best thing to come out of Grant Morrison's new X-Men run. Hands down. Look at this. Look at the argument building on this.
Not a high bar.
No. I can give you that. But nevertheless, I'm excited about Omega Kids. This is fun. And it's Tony Fleets. You never go wrong with Tony writing anything. But I know you're excited about Planet She-Hulk.
Yeah, and again, this is a team thing. Like, I've been a fan of Aaron Cooter since he was doing like the Marvel Young Guns variants.
Yeah.
So I really like Aaron Cooter's art, and I like Stephanie Phillips as a writer. So for them to take on Planet She-Hulk, like, again, it's Scar She-Hulk is stuck there, very much in that original sort of Planet Hulk sort of storyline, but spinning out of Imperial, which I think has been solid. But it's Jennifer Walters She-Hulk, stuck in that same situation. And she's in charge of keeping peace on this planet, but is she actually keeping peace? Is she actually good at it? And like at the same time, she's very different than she used to be in this story, according to Stephanie Phillips' own kind of admissions. So seeing how She-Hulk has changed in a situation that is largely unchanged is going to be an interesting concept for me.
Yeah. I'm honestly excited about this. This has that Queen Sonya, Red Sonya vibes to it that I love. For those not familiar, back in Imperial issue #1, Hulk left his cousin Jen the She-Hulk on the planet Sakaar, Planet Hulk, and she was supposed to protect it for a few days. Well, let's face it, everyone forgot about her. They left her on the planet, as oft happens. You just forget your cousin somewhere, at the mall for a few months, and she all of a sudden becomes the rule of the mall. Here's the problem. She-Hulk is not the world breaker that her cousin was. So how is she going to rule over this deadly gladiatorial blood-soaked planet of Sakaar? I'm really enticed, and if anyone can write it, it's going to be Stephanie Phillips. This is going to be very unlike any John Byrne-esque She-Hulk we're used to. This will not be a Dan Slott, Lawyer Tale, or Charles Soule She-Hulk. This is going to be barbarian-esque Queen She-Hulk of Sakaar, and I am 100% in.
Well, and it won't be any of that Me Too She-Hulk weirdness from the 90s, so... but the big thing is, you just scrolled past it right there. The Jenny Frison cover is just insanely gorgeous.
I wanted to point that out. Like, I love the Jenny Frison. I love the Inyuk Lee. I think the street verse costume covers are going to be amazing. They're a theme that's going to be on several Marvel books coming out this fall in November. But I feel it doesn't fit for the book. I'm going to buy them because I love Jenny Frison and I love Inyuk Lee, but I really want the barbarian Sakaar costume with the battle axe. So
sure, but like, there's a reason to get several.
Yeah. You're right. I'm probably gonna get them all. I might even go for the Fan Yang 125. A lot of great covers on this week. Another big #1 we got to talk about is the radioactive Spider-Man. It's X years later, as it's part of the Age of Revelation, and the X virus is everywhere. How does Peter Parker deal with it? Well, in the most intelligent, thought-provoking way Peter ever does. He injects himself with radiation to stave off this virus. And while that would kill a normal human, Spider-Man's no normal human. Unfortunately, radiation's still going to drive him insane. This is an out there book that, if I'm being 100% honest, on pitch alone, I have zero interest on. Yet, nevertheless, it's Joe Kelly writing it. It's Kev Walker on art. I'm going to give it a shot because I trust this creative team. Kyle doesn't feel that.
Not enough to save it for me.
Yeah. I mean, I cannot think of a bad Joe Kelly book.
Well, part of that is I think Joe Kelly was just really hitting his stride in regular Spider-Man, right? And now we're taking him off of regular Spider-Man and throwing him into this event. And it's like,
I should confirm this right now. I don't think Amazing Spider-Man is going on hiatus.
If this is one of those where it's just an additional, then I will give it a shot. But I'm going to pass on it if it is replacing Amazing.
Yeah.
Because, again, I think to stop that story where it's at and just throw them into this Age of Revelation event is just making a mistake on a story that has been good for the first time in a while.
Yeah. It. Um,
And by the way, the fact that Matthias is having this much trouble figuring it out just points to how bad this rollout was. It should be
no.
very
Okay.
easy to figure out what's continuing and what's not.
It really is. I hate to say. I at a glance while I'm live cannot get confirmation. I'm reading very opposing opinions on that, so who knows? But I mean, you're right. It is Joe Kelly of Amazing. So if you're reading Amazing, definitely let your comic shop know whether you're in for Radioactive Spider-Man or you're not. Whether Amazing or not is your local comic shop owner is probably better than me, and I feel sorry for any customers who use me as their local comic shop. But let's be honest, I don't have an answer right now. Hopefully next week somebody will chime in and I'll say yes, I do know now. Let's move on to things I do have an answer for. Also in the R's, IDW is bringing back the return of Sleepy Hollow. It's Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow film from decades ago, revived at IDW because that seems to be IDW Dark's answer is they're taking classic cult following horror films and dark films like Event Horizon and they're giving them new life. Casey Gilly and Savannah Mayer are returning to Sleepy Hollow with Ichabod Crane. And, I don't think I ever walked away from Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow thinking I want a sequel, but I'm also not opposed to it.
Yeah, I kind of am in the same boat, right? Like I didn't know that I needed more, but that movie was very interesting, was very good. So I would be down to read more of it.
If nothing else, I will say this. When the new Event Horizon comic came out, I sat down and rewatched Event Horizon. I actually sat down and rewatched it 3 times. Um, if this makes me sit down and rewatch Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow, I'm not going to complain. And if the comic's any good, I will be extra excited on top of that. So it's an interesting concept. It was a great film when it came out. I am all for diving into this and giving it a shot. Retailers definitely take a look about that cover A because there's some wonderful incentives towards getting it. I want to point out Rosalina's storybook for you Nintendo fans. This is going to be a fun little hardcover worth taking a look at. Shaolin Cowboy we'll talk a little bit more about later, but this is a big one for me. I really want to discuss. Is Star Wars Jedi Knights #8. This is awesome because for those who are big Star Wars fans, you likely know exactly who is on the cover there. Are you familiar with who's on the cover there, Kyle?
Only because you told me a couple hours ago.
That is the Jedi Knight Kelleran Beck. Kelleran Beck first appeared on a little known YouTube series for Star Wars fans on Star Wars Kids YouTube called Jedi Temple Challenge. It was a 1990s-esque game show for young kids to compete in Jedi challenges. And Ahmed Best, who was the actor who played Jar Jar Binks, played a Jedi called Kelleran Beck. If you really want to dive deep, Ahmed Best also played a character in Attack of Clones called Ahmed Beck, named after himself. It was a bit part and a small cameo, but we argue that he is related to Kelleran Beck, the Jedi who hosted the Jedi Temple Challenge. Now, here's the big way where this makes it very important. If you watch The Mandalorian, the origin of Grogu, Baby Yoda, was when Kelleran Beck saved Grogu from the Jedi Temple during Operation Nightfall, when Anakin led the troopers in Order 66 to kill all of the Jedi in the temple. Kelleran Beck is that infamous Jedi who saved Grogu. This is his first true appearance in comics with a brand new story that is going to further develop Kelleran Beck. I am beyond excited. I think Mark Guggenheim will do a great job on this. And the interesting thing is, well, he's on all of the covers. The protagonist is a character named Suna Taj, who is actually going to be our point of view from the comic. We're going to get this comic kind of from a first-person perspective of a youngling learning from the Jedi Master and educator, Kelleran Beck, much as we got to experience him if you did watch the Jedi Temple TV series. And if you haven't, definitely a fun little game show. I wish they would have continued onward back during the pandemic on YouTube. So check out Star Wars Kids on YouTube. Great thing to play in your shop if you have a shop TV and you're a retailer. Star Wars Jedi Temple, you can see Ahmed Best playing Jedi Knight Kelleran Beck, Jedi Master Kelleran Beck, through these fun games. So I am beyond excited to get Kelleran Beck in new stories. A lot of great covers there, including one with Ahmed Best right there as the movie variant. All right. Teenage Mutant Turtles Annual 2025. A lot of great covers there. Not much I need to say. A ton of Ultimate books. A lot of Ultimate spoiler covers. I will always say this. None of these made it to the top 10, but they're worth paying attention to because sometimes the spoiler covers do flop. They do. But often they're under-ordered by your store because we don't know what the cover is. So if you want to take a gamble on these sometimes have great aftermarket value. Let your local comic shop know. There's an Ultimate Spider-Man 22 cover by Declan Shalvey. There's an Ultimate Incursion cover by Linneo Yu. And I believe that was actually the end of the spoiler covers on the Ultimates, but both worth paying attention to if you want it. A lot of great covers as we continue the Tron cover theme. And we have the thank you and anniversary covers of the Ultimate Universe over the 3 Ultimate titles. So a lot of cover talk there. Sorry about that. I obviously got to talk about Undead Iron Fist because I love it. Iron Fist for life. But Voyeur number 2. Oh, too many things. Just too many things. I'm sorry. Too many amazing books. Check out prhcomics.com. I'll leave PRH Comics with one last thing I want to spotlight. It is the most unique title I can imagine. You Can't Bluff the Sharp-Eyed Sister. This feels like Sister Act meets Rain Man. It is the story of a young female cleric who is a card shark. And when she is found by a young knight, he hires her and to assist him on a very unique tale. But weird concept, out there title. This is the thing I love about manga. And for once, it's not an isekai. So I appreciate that. Really, really weird one out there. You Can't Bluff the Sharp-Eyed Sister. Kyle, you're giving me a look like I chose the craziest thing to end on.
No, not at all. Actually, that sounds very good. But I'm looking at the X-Men Road to Onslaught Omnibus.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. I was looking at it because I'm going, did I order it or did I not order it? I don't remember if I ordered it or not.
I do love the direct market cover I have to show off there by Sam Liu.
Yes.
I mean, it screams 90s X-Men, which is obviously the era this is reprinting. So, and it's really, really cool, I think, in my opinion, to have a cover that doesn't just outright say it. It looks like it could be an in-universe book.
Yep.
All right. With that said, we're going to pop over to Lunar and look at some of the amazing comics on FOC this Monday, September 22nd, that Lunar has. Starting off with DC's Absolute Flash number 8. A lot of great continuing series. You're going to want to take a look at lunardistribution.com so you just don't hear me ramble on over and over again. But we have the final issue of Batman and Robin Year 1. Keep in mind, if your local comic shop is participating in Batman Day this Saturday, September 20th, you might be able to get a free copy of Batman and Robin Year 1, issue number 1, amongst other amazing, cool, free Batman Day titles, or pick up exclusive Batman Day variants like Absolute Batman number 1, Batman Year 2 number 1, and more. So reach out to your local comic shop, see if they're participating in Batman Day, and find out what they may have in store for you. An exciting one I want to talk about is Batman Superman World's Finest 44, because it is another Robin Supergirl team up. I love these Robin Supergirl crossovers that we've been getting in World's Finest. Mark Waid's been doing a great job. He started it around issue number 2, but the iconic one was issue number 12, where it was the infamous what happened with Robin and Supergirl that defined these recurring crossovers and their relationship in the most awkward date night type of scenario imaginable. But I love these. I love the idea of getting a road trip with Robin and Supergirl, because why is Supergirl on a road trip when she can fly across the universe in seconds? This is going to be a fun one. Great standalone, great hop-in World's Finest. And I mean, powerhouse team of Mark Waid, Lucas Meyer. A lot of great covers on this, too. I mean, just for fun, who's the superhero you'd want to go on a road trip with, Kyle?
From DC, Booster Gold, because I feel like we would laugh our ass off the whole time.
I can see you.
And from Marvel, Forbush Man, because I feel like we'd laugh our ass off the whole time.
Yeah. I imagine with Forbush Man, you're doing a lot of gas station stops, and you are definitely treating the snack section like it is a grocery store.
Correct. And with my love of sheets, that's not a bad thing. But no, if I needed to get somewhere in a hurry, though, like, I think Wally West would be fun. Like, watching Wally West have to sit still while we drive someplace.
That's just
and
torture.
You know, right? I'd really like to talk to Uatu the Watcher, like on a long road trip as well.
Yeah, I imagine he's the type of guy that looks out the window of the car and just reads the name of every sign he drives by.
Right, but he's also going to have a story about something absolutely batcrap crazy that happened in that city for every city.
Valid point. All right. Speaking of amazing stories, I don't know if you've ever read Brandon Sanderson's classic novels, but White Sand is getting a deluxe hardcover slipcase. And right now it's a little hard with the transition from Diamond to Lunar to get these Brandon Sanderson White Sand comics that Dynamite did. This might be one of your key ways to get it. It's an expensive slipcase, but this is an incredible hardcover slipcase. I mean, if you're a big Brandon Sanderson fan, $200 is probably not anything you're blinking too hard at, but a big one, but a power buy. Catwoman 80, I got to point out, I love anytime we get more of those Batman 50 style nods of the character looking in the mirror. This is a great one as Catwoman goes back in time to steal something from her past. I've been really liking the current Catwoman run, and there's a lot of great covers on every. Catwoman and Poison Ivy have some of the best covers in comics right now. Wonderful pumpkin spice cover by Dan Mora. I know you're not a big fan of the pumpkin spice cover theme, but I'm buying it up like nobody's business.
I will say this: the Catwoman one I like.
Yeah,
like some of them make tremendous sense, and some of them don't.
Yeah, I really want to say
it's
an homage to Akira Toriyama. I think this is Akira Toriyama Dragon Ball cover.
Mm-hmm. Right, but like I said, with some of these things, they make total sense. This is totally like a fall scene, right? Like, totally makes sense. Putting cheesecakey superheroes just sitting on a pile of pumpkins makes no sense.
I mean, I bought that Nightwing cover this week. All right. In the opposite end, for those of you guys who love classic 1980s trading cards, you're going to probably want to grab Craniacs. Yes, Craniacs is a new 4-issue miniseries that is done in the vein of Garbage Pail Kids, and it is created by Garbage Pail Kid artist Joe Simcoe. So, fun. I think Joe Simcoe's actually got a card in a book unrelated to this week, actually. So, a lot of fun titles that you're going to want to take a look at on Lunar Distribution yourself. But here's a cool one we have exclusive information for you on. Dynamite, the zombie apocalypse story set in the Dynamite characters. Everyone from Miss Fury, Vampirella, Red Sonja, and more have appeared in the various Dynamite zombie tales. This is the Marvel Zombies or Deceased of the Dynamite universe. And it is back with a brand new series, Dynamite Blood Red. And they're doing the trendiest thing out there, blind bags. Now, we have firsthand exclusive information. We were able to reach out to the folks at Dynamite and get. These blind bags are going to have 11 unique covers to them that are exclusive to the blind bags. 3 of them are horror homages. There's going to be a Jaws homage, an Army of Darkness homage, and a Weapons homage. I got to give credit to Kyle. He was the one who figured out it was a Weapons homage. It went right over my head. But there's even more that they can't tell us yet. But this sounds like a fun one. I'm definitely in for a few because I love my, movie homage ones. There are going to be trade dress versions. There's going to be black and white versions. There's going to be virgin versions. So might be worth grabbing a handful of these blind bags. I mean, one way or another, Fred Van Lente doing a zombie Dynamite story, I'm in anyway, but I'm all for grabbing a few different covers. And then, did you see that great Godtail cover? Like, look at that. That is delightful.
Yeah.
Actually, one second. I want to go back. I think was this the one on it? Well, one way or another, I do want to point out Dead Space Trade Paperback Volume 3, very popular video game series, getting a new trade paperback from Titan Comics. So, a lot of fun things on there. Also, always have to give a nod to Dustin Weaver with that beautiful cover on Catacomb of Torment. Catacomb of Torment actually has a story from another great classic Star Wars writer you probably forgot about, Patricia Jackson, who did a lot of those stories in the old Star Wars RPG books and anthologies of the 90s that are now considered Star Wars legends, is returning for a cool little horror story in Catacomb of Torment. Some amazing ongoing and continuing series you can see here. Another big one I want to talk about is Hector Plasm. Let's test your comic book knowledge, Kyle. Are you familiar with Hector Plasm?
No.
Okay, well, this is where I get to shine on this. Hector Plasm is a creation of Bonito Sereno, which is the pen name for Jamie Groove. Bonito used to do backups in this comic that not too many people have heard of called Invincible by this guy, Robert Kirkman. Bonito used to do crossovers for like the first 20 issues of Invincible. And back in Invincible issue number 10, he created this little goofy character. I'm going to bust out my copy of Invincible 10 on air right here. So right after the letters page of Invincible 10, you had this great character, Hector Plasm, that first appeared. And Hector Plasm appeared regularly in backups in not only Invincible, but Weird Western Tales and more, as a goofy paranormal hunter of sorts. He's had his own series over time, and now he is getting a brand new series with another man who worked regularly doing backups in Robert Kirkman books, Derek Hunter. Derek Hunter did backups in The Walking Dead Deluxe, starting back in issue 70 with Small Bites. I have the ash can of Small Bites right here from Derek Hunter. So these powerhouses are coming together for a series that I really think you don't want to sleep on. Hector Plasm's Hector Plasm Hunt the Bigfoot. Obviously, you have another great Robert Kirkman collaborator, Ryan Otley, doing this amazing cover. But this is going to be a very goofy, out there paranormal hunter. It's got great artwork from Derek Hunter, who used to do Adventure Time. Benito doing an amazing job with this. It's got a lot of funny little Walking Dead jokes hidden inside it. So if you're a Skybound or Image fan, you're going to love this. If you're a Robert Kirkman fan who likes good humor in the style of Kirkman, you will adore this. But if you just want to try something new and crazy and goofy, it's also got a wonderful entry point. I've already read issue number 1. It is awesome. There are some amazing covers on this book. There is Derek Hunter doing the cover there, so you get an idea of what the interior art looks like. It will be fun. It will be goofy. I think a lot of people will sleep on this. But once this hits and everyone realizes this is a character that first appeared in Invincible 10, there's value to this character. There is demand for this character. I think this will be that sleeper hit that gets a second, third, or fourth printing as everyone rushes to the store to try and buy something that was massively under ordered. So I'm telling you all now, reach out to your local comic shop, place an order for number one. Do not sleep on this. And of course, if you have the opportunity, not that it's cheap now, go track down a copy of Invincible number 10 to get the first appearance of Hector Plasm. Was that a little bit of educational moment there for you, Kyle, or did I just completely bore you?
I remember when we talked about Battle Beast and I said I was never really an Invincible fan?
Still baffles me. I force it out of my memory whenever I get the opportunity.
Yep.
So, by the way, we got to see the amazing I Hate Fairyland covers, and while we've hit our F-word quota for the night, I do want to show that Scotty Young 1 in 10 on I Hate Fairyland 45. Obviously, you're going to get the incredible writing of Scotty Young, the unbelievable interior artwork, and 2 different covers by Jay Fosgitt. And then, if you are lucky enough, you should reach out to your local comic shop in advance to see if you can snag that 1 in 10 Scotty Young cover. Because I love Gert wearing the arms and head as an outfit of Popeye. Haunting imagery right there. Just love this stuff to death. A lot of fun continuing titles, as always. Another big one I need to talk about, The Last Spartan, Red Tape. Written by Christopher Priest, Tyler Mane, and Renee Geerlings. This is an incredible powerhouse with artwork by Will Conrad, Jimbo Salgado, Michael Monatat. Now, this is amazing because you might know Renee Geerlings as the former editor of Witchblade, the former editor-in-chief of Top Cow. She married a brilliant actor in the way of Tyler Mane, who is a former wrestler, the man who played Sabretooth in the 2000s X-Men movies all the way through the recent Deadpool Wolverine movie. And Christopher Priest, one of the most prolific and brilliant writers in modern comics. That cover is by Mark Silvestri. Everything about this is awesome, but it is an original graphic novel with only 2,500 copies going to print. This is going to be amazing.
So this book kickstarted maybe almost 2 years ago now, with Tyler Mane and those guys putting this book out originally on their own, and the reason they kickstarted it was really to raise money for this Deliver Fund, which is a nonprofit that they're working with that actually goes out and combats human trafficking, which is one of the big topics in the book, right? Yeah. And so that's why they crowdfunded it. So now they're going back out to the direct market with a limited number of copies because they're self-printing, they're doing this all themselves, and they've joined up with Prana Direct Market Solutions as part of the Prana Publishers line that they're doing. So the reason this is even available to FOC is because they've partnered with other small publishers to get into Lunar, much in the same way that Massive has and some of the others. So this is the first time you've had a chance to get this book this way in shops. But I've had this book for 2 years. It's incredible.
Yeah. And it is funny. I'm just now putting all the pieces together because Renee was the editor-in-chief at Top Cow, so hence you get that great Mark Silvestri cover. But that was back when Adam Freeman, the head of Prana, was also working sales, was writing that crossover. You got to love how everything connects on those moments. But
and I can tell you this, that I don't think anybody has really knows or is talking about. And I may not be supposed to talk about it, but I was at a convention talking to Tyler about the book, and they're working on volume 2, but Priest isn't available. So you'll be getting a new writer taking a little bit of a different angle with a similar topic.
Yeah. And the topic, if you weren't aware, is, as Kyle said, human trafficking. The story is about Frank Kane, who is a biker and part of the Last Spartan Motorcycle Club, as he gets messages from the gods and is determined, because of these omens he sees, to go out and save this young girl. You get an interesting array of characters in this. It is high action, very much feels like Sons of Anarchy, if you ever watch that incredible MC show. But I think this is an awesome book. And I love that Tyler Mane, despite being this big name actor, wrestler, and figure, is directly involved in supporting this, pushing it, creating it. He has done videos to reach out directly to retailers. Like, everything about this has me excited because these are people who care about comics, using the medium for a good purpose, creating brilliant content, and then also using the profits to help out a very solid cause. So everything about this, awesome. Worth ordering. Let your local comic shop know. It is an original graphic novel for $29.99, but worth every cent. Anything else you want to say on that topic, actually? Because I know you.
No, I mean, we're good. Like I said, it's a really great book. Just be on the lookout. It is a sort of a sensitive topic, but once you jump into it, you'll really enjoy it.
Got to really quickly talk about Mega Man Legends timelines, because this was my favorite video game for Mega Man. Look, I played all the Mega Mans, but Legends back in 1997, back on my Dreamcast, my PlayStation, was probably one of the greatest games. I loved this game. So I'm excited to get a one-shot part of the timelines crossover. David Oxford, Mick Fong doing it. Mick Fong did this cover, also did the interiors. Some other great variants available, but Mega Man Legends, I love that one. I think it was like the first RPG style Mega Man game.
Yeah, I'm just flashing back to the old Mega Man arcade cab days.
Yeah. Here's a huge one for you guys. Rogue Sun, part of the Radiant Black supermassive universe. Now they connect to something wider as Rogue Sun crosses over with Spawn. Set in the year 1383, we're going to get the medieval Rogue Sun crossing over with the medieval Spawn. I love all these like eras of Spawn that Todd is helping to bring forth. Obviously, we interviewed Liam Sharp last week about Spawn: The Dark Ages. We just had the medieval Spawn miniseries, but this one is going to be awesome as we get a weird crossover that will bring the Supermassive verse and the Spawn verse together. And it is not only going to be this issue. I love Ryan Perot's writing. I am excited for this crossover. I've actually already read the issue, and I'm going to tell you at the end of this issue is something huge for next year. So I'm already probably pushing it on what I'm allowed to say. Make sure you grab this issue. Do not sleep on it. This will be massive for Spawn fans, for Supermassive fans, and it will be a collector's item people will be dying to track down next year when big things are announced. Jeff Smith Bone fans, how about the prequel story Rose? That awesome tale about Grandma Ben as a young woman and warrior with art by Charles Vess. Finally, you can grab this as a very, very affordable trade. An amazing all ages books, whether you have longtime Bone fans in the store or you just want to get a younger reader into something fun. A lot of great continuing series, tons of Spawn stuff. We get to see a return of Stake, and much like Medieval Spawn, it goes back in time. Stake is a really cool vampire universe, and we are returning to it in a brand new way that is easy to jump on as we go to the middle of the 18th century, and rumors exist of monsters that consume people. Our character and titular character, that Jessamy, is a vampire who must put these rumors to rest and kill off those who are spreading them by traveling from England to the Americas in the middle of the 18th century. It's a fun and unique twist, definitely a reverse with the vampires killing humans as opposed to the humans killing vampires. Beautiful, beautiful artwork, as you can see, by Francesca Fantini, who did this cover and the interiors. Some brilliant covers are going to be available on this. Fun stuff. For those of you guys ready for more holiday murder mysteries, I get Halloween is coming up. We know it. And we've seen enough Mike Myers. What if we got the Turkey Day equivalent of Mike Myers in this Mark Russell one-shot Thanksgiving? It's Kyle's into it.
I love these. I love when Ahoy does these holiday slasher things and lets Mark Russell just kind of go crazy.
Yeah. I mean, Mark Russell, always a fun and comedic writer and a brilliant writer at that. He is a Eisner Award-winning author. But this will be his standalone issue, simple one and done, about the turkey neck killer and the family that ties together with him. Very much a Mike Myers Halloween story set during a day of thanks. Sorry, Canadians, this is way after your Thanksgiving, but in time for the American or the United States of America Thanksgiving. This will release October 22nd. So late gift for you Canadian Thanksgiving fans, early gift for you American Thanksgiving fans. Some awesome covers on this. Um, for those of you guys who are really excited about the upcoming DCKO, Titans is tying in because what you may not know is with all of the brouhaha involving Apocalypse attacking Earth, the answer, well, most of the heroes are fighting each other to the death with the Omega energy. The Titans have to evacuate all of Earth to save everyone. So this will start in issue 28 of Titans with Evacuation Earth. John Layman, definitely the interesting choice, but I love John, so I'm going to be really curious to see how he gathers our early 20-something heroes, the former Teen Titans, to evacuate all of Earth. This will be an interesting book, but I'm in.
I really like the Brad Walker cover on that one.
Great.
And just down from there, I don't know if you're planning to stop, but the hardcover releases of Universal Monsters: The Mummy.
Yes.
I read the issues once. I'm like, I'm going to wait for the trades. And then I heard we're getting hardcovers.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm waiting for those because this is going to look incredible on a shelf, especially as they do more of these Universal Monsters as hardcovers. So I'm very excited to be picking this one up.
Yeah. I mean, I absolutely adore it. I have been picking up every one of the Universal Monsters books as hardcover, which is ridiculous because I've been also picking up the single issues, but I love these. I love to get to see the artwork with all of the variant covers. I love that there's always a direct market exclusive cover you can only get at your local comic shop. Look, anyone can get this cover that Faith Erin Hicks wonderfully did at Walmart or Barnes & Noble or Amazon. But you have to go to your local comic shop to get this incredible cover by David Tulaski. I love it. You'll still get to see the Faith Erin Hicks cover in the interior. It is an awesome way to do it. I love that Skybound takes care of us like that. Faith Erin Hicks not only wrote but drew a brilliant tale on one of my favorite Universal Monster films, Mummy. So this is fun. A must grab.
Yeah.
All right. And then I have to wrap it with Yuletide. I literally got to read Yuletide just before the show started. This is an awesome comic by George Northy and Rochelle Argano about a little town called Christmas in Pennsylvania. And Christmas is a place where they basically celebrate and promote Christmas, the namesake of the town, year-round. This is a 3-issue miniseries, though, about a group of kids who aren't particularly fans of the holiday. And when they try their best to rebel against it, they end up awakening the true Yuletide figures that are the haunting truths behind the holiday prior to its Christian and 19th, 20th century modifications of Santa and lights and all of that. This is so Hocus Pocus meets the Goonies. It is unbelievable. It is fun. It is goofy. I love all 3 of our characters, and it is out there. This is amazing. I would argue it's Scott Pilgrim-esque even. But 3 issues, all 3 will be out in time for Christmas. This is going to be the one that is also up there. I feel with I feel with Hector Plasm as just being a sleeper hit. People will hear about this a few days after release and then be rushing to the store demanding it. So get ahead of that. Let your local comic shop know. If you are the ordering manager for your shop, maybe order up a little bit extra. This is going to be an awesome book. So those are our comics on FOC this Monday, September 22nd. I think it's time we hop to the top 10. What are your thoughts, Gal?
Let's do it.
Yeah, kind of a small week, but remember, it's a 5 Wednesday month in October, so each week will be a little bit more affordable. All the more reason to go and grab amazing things you might not have normally tried. Pick up back issues, trade paperbacks, and hardcovers, like our honorable mention for this week, Jeff Darrow's The Shaolin Cowboy, Beginning of the End Results. 21 years of blood, sweat, and chainsaws. That's a mouthful. And I think it's the most amount of text that Kyle's ever had to put in one of these graphics. So
it really is.
Yeah. If you're not familiar with Jeff Darrow, he is a masterpiece artist. He is one of the top in the industry. Most artists who work in comics will tell you that. And Shaolin Cowboy is amazing. This is a best of Shaolin Cowboy in one binding for just $35 as a hardcover. These type of hardcovers, I feel, from Dark Horse are traditionally $50 plus. This is a great entry point for $35. Well worth it. So I had to put this as an honorable mention. Meanwhile, an expensive hardcover with another brilliant artist and writer is Batman by Darwin Cook. It's an absolute edition, a wonderful absolute slipcase. And I love that it's an absolute edition because the absolute edition or absolute style of creation was created by Darwin Cook's friend, the unbelievable Scott Dunbier. This slipcase is going to be a best of collection of all of Darwin Cook's amazing stories. You're not only going to be getting his Batman Spirit crossovers, you're going to get Catwoman, Selina's Big Score, Batman Ego, Catwoman with Ed Brubaker, his solo one-shot, backups from Gotham Knights, Harley Quinn Holiday Special, his very first published DC work in Talent Showcase 19, and more. This has essays from friends of Darwin Cook, his former editor, Mark Chiarello. Like, this is going to be a must-have for Darwin Cook fans. And it is rare that I have a $100 book in the top 10, but this had to be it. Next up.
Absolutely.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, just absolutely anytime you can get Darwin Cook by Darwin Cook.
Yeah. 1776. Already talked about it. I'm excited about this. But I love the President homage covers. Going back to Amazing Spider-Man, when we had Todd Knock doing the Obama cover with Obama giving the thumbs up and Spider-Man in the backpack. Well, if we're going to do the president in 1776, let's go with the first president, George Washington. A little weird to see Spider-Man doing the little smartphone camera, shot of George Washington, but at least George knows how to pose for it. So great cover by Phil Jimenez. Then, of course, The Beauty with a TV show coming up. I think this will be a high-demand book on an already phenomenal story. And with Emma Lupacino doing the new artwork, I had to make her cover the piece for our top 10 in spot number 8. Then we talked a lot about The Last Spartan. I don't need to say much more, but look at that beautiful Mark Silvestri cover. Know that part of the proceeds of this go to an incredible cause. And as Kyle will tell you right now, this is an amazing book, right?
Oh, absolutely. It was a really fun read. Some of Priest's best work, I think. And Tyler Mane really does get into this story. Like, he, kind of lived this life on Sons of Anarchy and some of that kind of stuff. So it really does hit home for him.
Obviously, I talked up Hectoplasm, Hunt the Bigfoot. I think this Ryan Otley cover, just gets you that wonderful combination of all these attached to Kirkman and incredible people of, Sereno, Hunter, and Otley. Plus, it's just a fun, goofy, crazy book. I love it. Now, let's get to the top 5. We're going to start with Stake presents Jessamy. This Kiss cover is incredible. I know there is a local comic shop day black and white edition as I think an ash can. And then this full color one is a masterpiece to add to your collection when it releases in October. In spot 4, look, the Tron Ares covers are going to be in demand. The Tron Legacy covers are going for ridiculous prices on the aftermarket. Tron Ares covers are going to be in demand, and this is the best of one. If you didn't burst out laughing when this popped up on screen, I mean, maybe it's not for you, but I love it. I love that we get the Tron cycle and everything. You get to see Ares on there, but then having the like the little sidekick part of the light cycle, and the best part is the Tron light up bit is Jeff's teeth. Everything about this gold, pure gold, rod rays, no notes, perfection. Then, if we're going to do a road trip, this is the one to do. I love this beautiful piece by Adrian Gutierrez. I'm going to screw up on this. I want to say this is no. I don't think this is North by Northwest. Is this North by Northwest? What is the homage here?
I don't know.
Slap me over the face. Whether it is North by Northwest that I didn't get that off the top of my head, or that it's not remotely North by Northwest. But wonderful homage style movie poster. I love just seeing Dick and Kara just back to back, not liking each other. I cannot wait for this road trip coming. This is going to be fun. So definitely cover to grab.
I will say this, though. If you're going to do an homage, maybe list what you're homaging in your solicitation.
There it is. Actually, they might not legally be allowed to do that. So, but here we go. I love it. Keller and Beck, a.k.a. Ahmed Best, getting his big cover right there in the Torrin Clark style. All the Jedi Knight covers have had that Torrin Clark lightsaber cover. I am happy to add all of these Keller and Beck covers to my collection, but especially adding the lightsaber Torrin Clark cover. So that, of course, is number 2. I believe Keller and Beck might have been subtly in the Mandalorian comic adaptation. I can't say that with certainty, but I can tell you whether he was or not. I know he had a cameo, a very minor cameo in Jedi Knights #1. This is unquestionably what people would argue is his first full appearance and first original story in comics. So this will be a big one. Star Wars Jedi Knights 8, Keller and Beck. Go watch on YouTube Star Wars Jedi Temple. Finally, number 1, Rogue Sun 30. Thankfully, it's an open order homage because a lot of the Radiant Supermassive homage covers have been high ratios. Rogue Sun 30, the B cover, doing an homage to Spawn number 9, the infamous first appearance of Angela, as we get medieval Spawn crossing over with Rogue Sun or Night Sun. This is going to be a big one. When you get this finally in your hands and you reach that last page, oh my God, this is going to be a big book. Big book. Get this book, Rogue Sun 30. All right. Whew. We have a lot coming up. Kyle, you want to tell me about what else is coming to the ESP this weekend and maybe even what's happening next weekend?
Well, tonight you have the original art experience with Nikki, like we always do, and Nick is having a week. So the original art experience could be completely off the rails and could be a good time. He did send me the art, and it looks incredible. Some of the stuff that he's got on the show this week, including a double page Milton Caniff, Texas Ranger page from an old war story. Marvel Saga color. That's what I'm looking for, Matthias.
I apologize.
Yeah, he'll tell you. All that kind of stuff, and a Space Ghost Johnny Quest Space Quest cover will be on the show tonight, and then Nancy will be here from 9 to 11 with her show. We are dark this weekend, thank God. I need the break. But next week, we will have a full slate of shows. And then next weekend, Jay and I are going to attempt to pull off a feat of broadcast daring and mastery that will leave us almost certainly one of us dead and another one maimed on Local Comic Shop Day. More information about that in the next 36 hours. Be watching our social media. I may even go live later this weekend and do a little hangout and explain some of what's going to be happening. But just be on the lookout because Local Comic Shop Day is going to be bonkers.
And on that note, I want to talk about that. While we are a little dark this weekend, it is all the more reason this Saturday to go to your local comic shop and see if they're participating in Batman Day or otherwise just enjoy them. Because next Saturday, which is, I believe, the 27th, is Local Comic Shop Day. And that is the day to go out and celebrate your local comic shop, to go and buy from your local comic shop, support them and love them. Because the thing that makes your local comic shop awesome, look, you can buy things anywhere. You can. Now, a lot of things are going to be unique to your local comic shop, but the thing that defines your local comic shop are the people, the community, and everything. And it's easy to get lost in the variants and the sales of Local Comic Shop Day. But the reality is you can go there and you know there are experts in comics that can guide you to the best new thing to read, to find classic stories you might have missed out on, to discover new heroes, characters, or well beyond the realm of superheroes. Your local comic shop can be a place to play games, to discuss your favorite hobbies and fandoms, and to otherwise be at a convention without having to go to a convention, to find your fourth place, your place where you fit in. You are loved. You are one of the crew, and get all of these amazing things you adore. So that is the reason why we come out and celebrate local comic shops on Local Comic Shop Day. And Kyle and the rest of the crew will be adding to it, hopefully, with some amazing things that he'll be announcing in the next 36 hours. But
Unknown, I can't answer that question yet.
Ooh, maybe not. But
yeah, all of those announcements will be made. Again, the full schedule will be out. All of those announcements will be made here in the coming days. We're still putting some things together.
So Local Comic Shop Day, go support your local comic shop. Swing out there, grab a comic at the very least, and say hi because that's what it's about. It's that community feel. I love local comic shops. Obviously, I own one and I adore them. And if you're watching this, you probably have one that you love and adore too. Maybe you are an owner, manager, or an employee of one. So celebrate local comic shops on September 27th for Local Comic Shop Day and tune in to the EXP, whether you're in your shop or not, throughout this week and on Local Comic Shop Day. All right, with that, we'll see you guys next week.